Hey guys, familiar backdrop, right? We reached the end of season one of Agent Carter, and I'm gonna say season one. Jose Molina, who's the co-executive producer of the show, was pretty hopeful that they'd get a second season. He said that the cast and the writers, they're all raring to go for a second season. Really, it all came down to the ratings. So I hope you guys watched it last night. I hope you guys live tweeted. I did. I hope that you guys have purchased the episodes online. I hope that you watched them online. If you want to buy them, you can buy the season digitally, all around. I'm trying to think. I know I saw it on iTunes. I'm pretty sure that you can probably get it on Google, in Google Play, probably Amazon for $19.99. It's pretty affordable. So if you can spare $20, go ahead and buy it. Try to support the series because if they see enough people that are invested in it, then they will renew it. And that would be amazing because this has been a great season. It's been a great show. Not a perfect show, but it has been a great show. So I thought I'd show off what I've got here. Other than I'm rocking the retro look today, I thought I'd show you guys my phone case, which I bought a brand new brown phone case for the specific reason of me being able to put this sticker on it so that I have an official SSR branded communication device. I think Peggy would be proud. Also, I bought this t-shirt through Shirt Punch. It was a limited design, so I don't think it's available anymore. But here we have, oops, there we go. For those of you too young to really remember, it's a Dick Tracy Agent Carter mashup thing. So let's jump to the episode, shall we? So this one was called Valediction, which is the act of saying goodbye. And here's hoping it's just a temporary goodbye, right? In this past week, I got a message from Dennis who asked whether or not, actually, he pointed out that Ivchenko, who we now know as Svenhoff, that his ring, it seemed to him like one of the Mandarin's rings. And he sent me a link, and I'm sorry, I'm going to pull it up right now because I don't want to get this wrong. It is the Mento Intensifier ring, which would magnify the psychic energy, enabling you to mentally control a person. So when you combine that with Fenhoff's ability to manipulate people into doing what they want, especially killing themselves, those two seem to kind of mesh together. Because especially, it wasn't him just talking people into it. He did use that ring as a focus point. So it made me wonder if there really is something to it. And it'd be kind of nice, especially since the movie Mandarin definitely wasn't the Mandarin of the comics. And, we do know that items of power do exist in this universe. I mean, we have the Infinity Stones, and so it would be nice to see that something like that existed too. There's a lot going on. Everybody's kind of had such a major journey. So let's just talk about some of the good guys, then we get to the bad guys, and then we can wrap it all up with Peggy, because so much happened. So Thompson, over the course of this season, he has gone from being the casual misogynist, who, he isn't a jerk just to be a jerk, it's just the way the world works, to someone who really did consider Peggy to be just a secretary, to someone who sees her as at least a professional equal. That's been really amazing to see. Of course, when congressmen came to give accolades, he still readily accepted them. He did seem hesitant, but it is the way it is. Sousa has gone from being someone who did seem a little bit more aware of what he did and a little bit more defensive of himself in the field to someone who really found a way to work with it all. And I mean, as we'd seen through the season, he was the one who was closest to Peggy's trail, all because he was the smartest. And indeed, in this one, he was the one who got the upper hand on Fenhoff because he's the only person, including Peggy, who thought about plugging their ears. It was amazing. Like, why didn't anybody think of that? Howard, oh my goodness. So a lot of the things that we've learned about Howard is that Howard and Tony Stark are a lot alike, from their rampant egos to being distraught over their creations being used for purposes that they weren't intended for. Now, Howard, it was that most of his inventions didn't work, and the unintended uses wound up being deadly. And that really weighed on him, especially with Midnight Oil, which it was something that he had designed to be able to help soldiers, which just wound up being used as a weapon. And that really bothered him. And yes, indeed, it was Midnight Oil that was at the Battle of Finale. God, what a terrible, terrible thing from the way they described it and the way that Sousa described how he felt. And it was heartbreaking that when Fenhoff had control of Howard and he was trying to get him to go to the one thing that he would want to change, it was Steve. And I'm sure a big part of it was that Steve, Steve was it was the thing that had gone right. His work with the serum, it was what had worked, and it was absolutely heartbreaking to see that, he wanted to be the hero so badly. He wanted to be the one to set things right, to go and save Steve. That was hard. That was so hard to see. And Jarvis, my goodness, we've seen him go so far from the man who was the "I'm sorry, I have to be home every night for my wife" to the man who was willing to go up into a plane to possibly shoot down his boss because it was what Howard would have wanted. Okay, it wasn't what Howard would have wanted, but it was the right thing to do. And to the man who lied to his boss to tell him that Steve Rogers' blood had been destroyed in order to give it to Peggy so that she could decide what to do with. It was amazing to see in that moment at the end when he was trying to figure out what he was going to do next, because this had been such a big journey, um, to suggesting that if Peggy needed help, that he would be there. It was amazing to see how far he's come. Who have I left off? Well, we've already talked about the dastardly Dr. Fenhoff, who, by the way, when they mentioned his name, I was like, is he someone in Marvel? Because obviously I know a lot of the broader strokes of the Marvel comics. I don't know all of the individuals. So thank you to the people who popped up right away in the live tweet to tell me that Fenhoff's villain name is Faustus. So that was good to know. Although when it said Faustus, I was like, that's a name I know. Let's see. So Dottie, we got to see that all-out Peggy Dottie fight that we wanted to see, which was brutal. There was baseball bats. There was punching and kicking, and finally Dottie went flying out the window. And I think the thing I like is that we're starting to see glimpses of who Dottie is behind the programming. Her telling Peggy that when she grew up, she was always envious, that she wanted to be the people with the free lives. And then it occurred to her that she could be anyone she wanted now. And the irony is that's why a lot of people like being actors is that you might not have the life that you want, but you can be anybody in a role. And it's always one of the things that drew me to acting, was that I could be exactly what I wanted to be. And actually, it's what draws me to writing too. I think one of the funniest moments in the entire episode was when they had Howard, when they had kidnapped Howard and they're taking him to the airstrip. Dottie's holding him under a gun, and Howard can't remember her name. He can't place her. Like, he starts to hit on her, and it occurs, and she's like, "You don't even know who I am." But she gets angry. And even if you're a trained assassin, you will still get upset if someone doesn't recognize you after you spend a whole weekend with them. I mean, it's kind of like that. It is an ego thing. So I'm relieved that Dottie seemed to have survived. By the way, for Dottie cosplayers, the lipstick I am wearing right now, or the lipstick that my that my mug is mostly wearing, it is Revlon's Cherries in the Snow. Bridget Regan had tweeted that she didn't remember the shade, but she knew it was Revlon. And I have Cherries in the Snow, and I've been wearing it, and it's this lovely pinky bluish red. And so I'm really sure that's what it is. If you want to get that same kind of pink color, though, what I recommend is that you either use a pinkish lip liner or you use a nude lip liner so that you're just bringing out that shade and get it all to stay put. So there you have it. So let's go with the wrapping up part. So this is mostly Peggy's journey here. When we found out that Thompson was getting all the accolades, Sousa was upset. Sousa was livid. I'm going to go give that man a piece of my mind. I'm going to tell him who really did it. And it was wonderful because, Peggy had just walked in. She actually got applause. Her team recognized what she could do, and it was amazing. And Peggy had gone from someone who yearned for their approval to realizing she didn't need it. The only validation she needed was her own, and she knew she could do it. And she realized that was what was important. And that was such a big thing. And Peggy, when talking Howard down, the thing that broke through Fenhoff's programming was that she told him it was time to let Steve go. And I think she realized too that she needed to let Steve go, that there wasn't a point in waiting anymore because Steve wasn't going to show up. And I'm sorry, I always get emotional when I think about those two. Sousa asked Peggy out for drinks. And she said, not now, but another time. And that made me happy. And they both got this little smile. And so who was she blowing that for? For Angie! Because remember Howard's big swanky apartment, she and Angie are staying at it because, of course, the Griffith is a crime scene, and so's the Automette. So Angie's going to need somewhere to live free. So that was wonderful and very nice of Howard to try to make that part right, since really he did kind of screw over more than just Peggy's life. And then, of course, Peggy decided with the vial of blood, she dropped it. She returned him to Brooklyn. She took the last part of Steve Rogers back to Brooklyn and said goodbye. With The Way You Look Tonight playing, I looked it up. It was Bing Crosby. Most of you guys should have recognized Bing's voice. Bing Crosby and his wife, Dixie Lee Crosby. It's a duet between the two of them. You can find it on YouTube. And, of course, it wouldn't be a Marvel thing if there wasn't a stinger scene, right? So we saw Fenhoff being escorted into his jail cell, and he's all mouth wired shut. And the door closes, and out comes a very familiar voice, Zola. So here we have it, you guys, the very beginnings of the resurgence of Hydra. So I'm assuming what's going to happen is that at some point in time, Zola will earn enough trust, be able to offer them something, so they'll be able to bring him out, in which place he'll be able to work with Fenhoff. And according to an interview, this is the very root of the Winter Soldier program. Now, obviously in comics, the Winter Soldier program was a Russian thing. It was, Zola worked with the Russians to develop this. But because we're changing things a little bit, we brought the Russians into Hydra. So Fenhoff, he would be able to bring his secrets in, and certainly you can see how his mind control would be very instrumental in them to being able to develop a technology to wipe Bucky's slate clean and give him his programming, his orders. So I think that's very interesting. And there was one little chilling moment in there that when Howard saw Sousa, he looked at him, he looked at his leg, and he said, you know, I could fix that for you. And it just made me think of Bucky's arm. I mean, the Winter Soldier's arm. And you're looking at this technical marvel, this arm of the Winter Soldiers, and the way that it ripples and can adjust and things like that. And it makes you wonder who would have had that kind of technology. And the answer is nobody but Howard Stark. And I would put my money on Howard not necessarily knowing what he was developing it for, but having had a hand in developing Bucky's arm. So those are some of my things, and so it makes everything a little bit more chilling. I can't wait to see where the next season goes, because I want a next season. So guys, do your part in letting them know that we really want a season 2. So I think that's it. Did I miss stuff? I still owe you guys 2 more makeup tutorials. I'm still looking for Angie's lipstick. Man, that's tough. But now that I definitely have Dottie's lipstick, I can go from there. Well, you guys, that's it. If you guys like, please subscribe to my YouTube videos. I'm going to be doing more stuff. I know next summer I'm going to be doing videos for Teen Wolf. So you guys subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm going to have content, I promise. You can go to my website and sign up for RSS or Blog Love and to follow my posts there. It's whitneydrake.com. You can find me on Twitter. I am at Whitney D. I have a Facebook page, Geek Pirate Mom. I have a Tumblr account, Winged Kiari, which generally has stuff that's not safe for work, but I post a lot of Marvel stuff there, and I'm sure that come May with Age of Ultron, there will be tons and tons of things there. So I'm on Instagram. I am Whitney Drake, and I'm on Google Plus as Whitney Drake as well, but the link's on my website. Anyways, you guys have a great week. Thank you so much for coming along on this journey with me, and if there's anything else that you can think of me covering, leave a comment below. Anyways, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!